If the world were like a Sleep Number mattress, everything would adapt for your comfort. Because as your life changes and your body changes, Sleep Number mattresses adapt and shift to give you personalized comfort night after night. And now everything's on sale during our Memorial Day event. Save up to $1,200 on mattresses for a limited time. To experience a whole new world of comfort, visit a Sleep Number store or go to sleepnumber.com. Sleep Number, to a good life sleep.
It's time for the Larry H. Miller Utah Summer Games at Southern Utah University in Cedar City. Register today to participate in the 40th anniversary season of a Utah sports tradition at utahsummergames.org. Participate in over 50 sports around the state. Then plan to join the opening ceremonies Friday, June 5th, presented by State Bank of Southern Utah. Register today to participate in the 40th anniversary season of the Larry H. Miller Utah Summer Games.
Not only do these guys give you the best Jazz coverage in the market, they've got you covered with the Mammoth, the Cougars, the Utes, and the Aggies. This is Jake Scott and Ben Anderson on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Jacob Man, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Oh, man, I know we're going to talk draft here, but I brought up this story, just waiting to be angry, that the NFL announced where the 2030 Super Bowl is going, and it's going to be Nashville.
Okay.
But I know it's not quite Hot Take Tuesday yet, but my hot take has always been pick 4 markets that people want to go to.
And rotate.
And just rotate through those.
Yeah.
But I think Nashville should be on that list.
Okay. Not their current stadium.
Not their current.
But they are building one right next door.
Right.
And it's a couple years out from being done, so that makes sense.
Yeah, right. But that type of town, the weather's going to be good? Yeah, there's plenty to do?
Probably okay in February, I would hope.
I mean, probably not that much different than like New Orleans.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit cooler, but not that
no,
bad.
They're not getting a lot of snow.
No, it should be like Nashville, Vegas, Miami, New Orleans, and Los Angeles. That's it.
Yeah.
None of this Detroit, New York, Minneapolis stuff.
Yeah. No cold weather cities.
Just because, I mean, if you're going to the Super Bowl, odds are that you're not going because you're a fan of the team. You're going because
you got a random opportunity.
You got an opportunity to go, and it's going to be a vacation to see the Super Bowl. Well, give people somewhere to go. That was always my take. But Nashville should be on that list if they have a good facility.
Yeah. It looked cool.
You've alluded to Ryan Smith going on with Bill Simmons, talking a little draft here. We thought we'd play a little sound from that. Ryan talking about prospects and relationship with specifically Cam Boozer and AJ Dybantsa. Let's play that.
There's a top 4, and you guys have these indirect ties with 2 of the 4, right? Where you have Boozer, who played for the Jazz for years, who had the best years of his career, and is now involved with your team. And then AJ, who got pulled out, went to prep school there, went to BYU. I know you guys are a little bit involved with the, success of BYU. So you've probably gotten to know him a little bit, right?
Yeah. I mean, I go to BYU's like a mile from my house. So like, it's my alma mater. It's where I went to school. It's where I play hoops. It's cool that, a potential top pick or wherever it ends up is coming through here. And I'm sure all the Dukies feel the same way about Cam. And, it's kind of how it's gone. I mean, I get the amount of texts I get from everyone from Duke, and there's a lot of them, the decision's easy, whatever it is, they're coming. So, and you got the BYU contingent. It's like, there's a lot of drama around this and a lot of insight and narrative. And it's going to be an interesting 40 couple days here.
So, I told you yesterday, I don't think I said this on the radio, not that it matters, but I was doing a hit this morning on a Washington, D.C. sports radio station. And they specifically wanted to ask about AJ Dybantsa, but they opened the show or the segment by asking what I know of Ryan Smith getting AJ Dybantsa to Utah Prep, getting him to BYU, and how critical it is for AJ to land in Utah. And I think I disappointed them because I said, I don't think it matters all that much. I don't think that's the end all be all. First of all, Ryan Smith is very smart. Ryan Smith knew the entire time that the Jazz, whenever AJ entered the draft, the Jazz would have at best a 10% chance of landing him. He did not organize all of this or help organize or whatever just to get a 10% chance of drafting AJ Dybantsa. In fact, I think Ryan Smith, one of his overarching goals that we have seen, and maybe overarching is the wrong word, but one of the consistent themes I think he's tried to accomplish since taking over the Utah Jazz or bringing the Utah Mammoths up here is he wants Utah to feel accessible and maybe even cool to people, whether that's BYU, Utah high schools, and certainly the Utah Jazz where he makes a lot of his money now. And it's kind of what I told him. I said, I'm not sure Ryan hasn't already achieved his goal by having the number 1 overall recruit live in Provo, play high school here, change his perspective on Utah, and be able to talk to people wherever he goes that, oh yeah, Utah was cool. And the next Bruce Branch III's going to come here, and another kid's going to come here, and another kid's going to come here. I think Ryan has kind of opened that floodgate a little bit that Ryan's cool. And even in this podcast, he talks about it a lot. But I think the guys in Washington were a little disappointed that I didn't think the Jazz were going to bend over backwards to give the Wizards absolutely everything to move up to number 1 to get AJ, because AJ's already served a huge purpose for Utah, and he may never play for the Jazz, and I still think that's a successful endeavor for what Ryan Smith was trying to accomplish. But to his point, I'm sure he's hearing it from BYU fans. The way Duke people hear it from Duke people, you don't have to only go out and get the local guy.
Yeah, but he didn't say one really important thing there, which would fly in the face of this a little bit. He did not say we are going to take the best player available. He did not say that.
In that clip, he didn't.
He did not. He danced around.
I
He said,
listened to the
BYU's
whole
right
podcast,
down.
and he did say it several times.
Okay.
I will say, that clip, if that's what you were waiting for, he said it elsewhere. I promise he said it elsewhere.
That's what I was waiting for, because I don't know if that's true. I don't know if this wasn't some master plan to recruit AJ in high school and somehow to have it benefit the Utah Jazz. I do agree with your point about the likelihood of that, but that's not to say that it didn't happen or isn't real.
Or he hadn't thought about it.
Or he hasn't, he and Danny being so close to AJ haven't totally fallen in love with him. Because that's the leverage the other team has. That's why those guys wanted to hear it. Radio bozos and fans are smart sometimes. They know how Washington comes out super ahead in this situation. If the Jazz are desperate to move up to AJ Dybantsa, they wanted you to come on and say, oh man, the Utah Jazz would do literally anything to get AJ Dybantsa. That's what they're hoping, because of we're having David on, right? It's his Locked On Wizards podcasty guy who's throwing out these ludicrous trade values, for the Jazz, because they're, I don't want to say wish casting, but kind of wish casting. Uh-huh. That's what they're doing. But I don't know, Ryan Smith should go into this saying, I don't care if we get AJ or not. Fine player, but not a priority. I mean, he should be downplaying that stuff, which if that's what he said later on in the interview, then all right. But I was waiting for, love those guys. Carlos, shout out to you. BYU right down the road. It's been fun watching him play. But we're going to take the best player we possibly can at number 2 pick.
What he did say, and again, we don't have the clip because it was a 40-minute interview on the Bill Simmons show, is he said this specifically. He said, you don't want me making the pick. He said, Jazz fans should not want Ryan Smith to make the pick. And he didn't go third person, but he did say, you don't want me making the pick. And that's exactly right. And I do think, again, that's where Ryan has been very good at his job and as an owner of saying, yes, I'm going to bring in my guys. Yes, Ryan believes in his people, clearly. He has known Danny Ainge his whole life. He talks about how he and Danny Ainge were born in the same hospital. Now, obviously, that was 30-ish years apart, 20-ish years apart, but they have ties. He knew him growing up, went to Boston, hung out with those guys before Danny Ainge even came to Utah, et cetera, et cetera. Clearly, Ryan has his people that he likes, but he also trusts those people. He talks about how he landed on Austin Ainge, how they got Danny Ainge, et cetera, et cetera. He really broke it down. I thought it was pretty interesting. But he says, let those guys do their job. That's the most important thing he can do. And he talked about Matt Ishbia, and he talked about some of these other owners, and he didn't specifically say they've got the new owner syndrome of coming in and trying to make a splash, but he recognizes the desire of wanting to come in and have an impact and say you know it and have opinions, et cetera, when really the best thing you can do is trust the people that you hire to come in. And he's going to sit there, and he's going to listen, and he's going to have, a say. And, of course, he has the final say. But he said it would be really stupid of me to have Austin Ainge say something, Danny say something, Will Hardy say something, and him say, actually, no, I think it's the opposite of that. And I think that's a real positive.
I agree.
So along those lines, I don't think he's going, it's AJ or bust. Now, if Danny feels that way and Austin feels that way, most importantly, as the president of basketball operations, and Justin Zanuck feels that way, I'm sure Ryan would sign off on it. But I'm not sure if they say we think it's Darren or we think it's Cam, that Ryan's going to say, well, I got a couple of texts from BYU people that say they'd really like me to take AJ, so I'm going to take AJ.
Yeah, I don't think so.
I don't think that's coming. That doesn't mean they won't take AJ.
Well, there's just too much at stake for that stuff if you're smart about it. But then again, Charlotte picked Con Knipple because he went to Duke.
In part. But he also proved to be very worth that pick. I mean,
Yeah.
that was the right analysis. He was the second rookie of the year. He was picked 4th overall. Great value.
Yeah, right. But that's not why they didn't know that when they picked him, which is my point. There were plenty of people that had Ace Bailey ahead of Con Knipple on their draft boards, and thought there were plenty of people after the draft that thought Charlotte reached at 4 to get Con Knipple. And they took him because he went to Duke. And it turned out fine for him. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's maybe, a blind squirrel finds a nut once in a while.
Oh, it can be right.
But I don't think that it would work in the Jazz favor to be super attached to AJ Dybantsa for the obvious reasons that everybody who's paying attention, including Doug Gottlieb, would know.
You should not care about who the player is based on the school they went to or their last name or if their dad works in your front office or if you've watched every college game of theirs at all. I bet you, truthfully, Ryan has probably seen more games from who's a second-year player at BYU, third-year player at BYU, whatever. Some dude who's been there. Just say Richie Saunders. Keba Keita. He's seen Keba Keita. You've seen him play more than he's seen AJ Dybantsa. Take him. You've seen him play more. He's a BYU guy. He's more of a BYU guy than AJ is. He's been there longer. Yeah, you're not stupid. He's not going to do something ridiculous just because he's seen him play more. And sometimes you have to go to the extreme to see kind of the arguments of the case. But that's the argument of this case. Don't just take AJ because you've seen him the most because he was the closest. Lots of guys are close. Ryan's seen a lot of players play. That would be the dumbest decision they could make. So, doesn't mean AJ won't be number 1 on their board. I think AJ is going to be number 1 on most people's boards.
Best player available.
I think he's going to Washington. Very firmly believe that.
But that's what the Jazz need to do. Well, if he goes to Washington, he's probably not going to be very good. Their judgment is suspect.
Their development is very bad.
Their
I'm
development
not
is
sure it's
suspect.
their judgment that's bad, but their development is horrible. If you get talented players, the thing about the draft is nobody's drafting bad players at the top. These guys are all really good. They've been good in high school. They've been good at FIBA. They've been good in U19, whatever. They've been good every step of the way. They've been good in college. This isn't the NFL where a guy's like, yeah, he's never played before. It was crazy. We brought him in for 12 games, and he's just a super athlete, and we're going to put him at defensive end, and he's going to jump up in the first round, which happens occasionally. That never happens in the NBA. You never say oh, wow, this guy was 6'9", can't play a lick, never played organized basketball in his life. But we think we're going to draft him 3rd. That doesn't happen in the NBA. These guys are all really good. Can they live up to the pressure? Can you develop them right? Can you put them in environments where they have success? And that's where Washington has traditionally not done a very good job.
At anything.
Or Sacramento.
I don't know. Maybe your guy Sarr turns out to be something.
Yeah, he's okay.
Yeah, he's okay. I don't know. But I wouldn't bet on Washington making the right decision. But if AJ fell to the Jazz at 2, I'm sure they'd be thrilled.
No question. If AJ's on the board at 2, the Jazz will take
But
AJ.
what they should be doing is downplaying the narrative that they're desperate for AJ. Ryan should be on with Bill Simmons saying, AJ, who?
Yeah.
I don't even know
whether
who
they
you're talking
want him
about.
or not. Yeah, downplay AJ.
I don't even know that guy.
Yeah.
Carlos Boozer works for me?
Unless the Jazz think that Darren Peterson's 1,000 times better than AJ, or Cam Boozer's 1,000 times better than AJ, and the worst case scenario is AJ still being on the board at 2, because that means that either Darren or Cam is gone, and that's who the Jazz want. Otherwise, yeah, there's no reason to hype up AJ at all.
No.
Especially if you want him.
Right. You should not be
fall.
doing that. So
I don't remember the Jazz saying a word about Ace Bailey before the draft.
Nope.
They wanted him.
Washington's dying to know what the Jazz want to do, though. I believe that.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that they were dialed into old Bill's podcast. Who would you bet on having intel on the other team? Danny Ainge on Washington or Washington on Danny Ainge?
Danny Ainge.
Or Austin Ainge.
Austin
Or
Ainge,
I'm really
yeah.
the Jazz
The Jazz front office.
front office.
I was very impressed with how the Jazz front office handled the draft last year. To get Ace at 5, not have Washington jump them, and get the guy they were apparently targeting. I thought that was impressive. I strongly suspect if anyone's going to get played in this scenario, it is not the Utah Jazz.
I would think so. By the way, Michael Winger is their executive.
Yeah.
So, want to be accurate.
And I wrote this up last week as well. You know, what is his history? What does he draft? You know, Danny Ainge, and I'm not ignoring Austin here. I'm just saying Danny's history, and now you include Austin, who's only really got one draft under his belt as the leading guy, has historically valued high school recruiting rankings over necessarily college production. Ace did not have a particularly great freshman season at Rutgers. Keontae did not have a particularly great freshman season at Baylor, but they were enormous recruits. Keontae was 5th. I think Ace was 2nd. And you go back to what happened in Boston, Danny Ainge trusted those same things. Jaylen Brown did not have a good first year at Cal. Jason Tatum had a good year at Duke, but was also an enormously high recruit. And Danny went out and found those players and drafted them, and he trusted more of what he saw before the context of college than after. You look at Winger at Washington, he traditionally seems to value really long guys. He's only been there for 3 years, but Alex Sarr falls into that group. Keyshawn George falls into that group. Will Riley falls into that group. Who's the kid they drafted? Trey Johnson falls into that group, who they drafted 6th last year. He's shorter, but he's really long. I think they like long, athletic players. Well, that's not Darren Peterson. That is AJ Dybantsa, and that's where I think they're going to go.
This guy came from the Clippers.
Okay. Well, bad sign.
He was the GM under Larry Frank.
Clippers develop anyone well? Blake was okay.
The Jazz killer, what was his name?
Trey Mann. Really developed him well.
Terrence Mann.
Terrence Mann, not Trey Mann. Trey Mann plays for the Charlotte Hornets. Terrence Mann.
Zubats.
Who they didn't draft.
They traded for him, though.
They did trade for him.
And they traded nothing for him.
Yeah, that was a bad move by the Lakers.
Uh-huh.
They could have used that Zubats guy.
They could have. They could still use him today, in fact.
Yeah, Blake was fine. DeAndre achieved above his.
I think those guys were
spot.
pre this guy. He got there in 2017.
Oh, yeah. Then he doesn't get credit for it.
He was with Oklahoma City, though, from 2010 to 2017.
Okay.
So that's his background.
Some hits and some misses there, too. Including Trey Mann.
But
Not Terrence Mann, Trey Mann.
But he took the Wizards' job.
It's true.
Doesn't that show a little error in judgment right there?
Yeah, picking the right job is a skill.
Uh-huh.
It's a real skill.
Like your guy Mosley going from Orlando to New Orleans.
Going the wrong direction.
Going the wrong direction,
In fact, you should have left Orlando a year early. It's been like, I need to step away from myself. Heart or something, whatever the problem is. Family issues, mental health, whatever. And I'm not trying to make fun of mental health, but I think it's been used conveniently in the past. And then take a better job 2 years later. Not, well, I'm going to run this out until I get fired, and then I'm going to take the next job that's a little bit worse than that. And then is there a job worse than New Orleans in the NBA?
Sacramento.
Okay. And I'll finish up at Sacramento. I'll have a 12-year career. We'll wrap it up.
Good times.
Put it in the books.
That'd be funny if Sacramento, their next general manager was Calvin Booth.
Yep. It's getting a little worse every single time. But that's how these teams end up, these teams.
It is.
And yes, again, if I'm the father of one of these kids, I'm not dying to land in Washington. Though AJ's going to get the ball if Trae Young lets him have it, and will be able to score a lot. I wrote an article today. Someone asked in my mailbag, what's the likelihood the Jazz draft an all-star? And the truth is, it's probably AJ at number 1 because AJ's going to get 1,000 shots. Mm-hmm. And he's going to score 20 points, and he has a lot of flashy dunks. He's going to become an all-star. I don't know if that necessarily means you're the best player. All-star has a ton of noise to it. It doesn't really mean that much. All-NBA means a lot more. But AJ's probably have a great chance to make an all-star team because he's going to average 25 points a game really early in his career.
De'Aaron Fox was an all-star, and he just lost his job.
D'Angelo Russell made an all-star team. Career
Yikes.
journeyman.
Yeah,
Doesn't
Wiggins.
really mean anything. Yeah, right. So, yes, De'Aaron Fox was officially put on the trade block last night. Not only did you and I say, oh, good news for the Spurs, De'Aaron Fox is not playing, they're going to win, Dylan Harper came in and was unreal.
When he was on his feet.
Correct.
He fell down a lot.
He did fall down a lot, but I think he had 7 steals last night.
Uh-huh.
25, 5, and 5. I mean, he eclipsed the 5s, but broke the 20-point mark and points, rebounds, and steal, or rebounds, assists, and steals. He had over 5. It was awesome.
Made himself at home taking 20 shots.
Well,
I'm getting the start, baby.
I'm sure they would rather him doing that in the going forward as a 6'6", 6'7" player over De'Aaron Fox.
24 points, 11 rebounds, 6 assists, only 1 turnover, 7 steals. Yeah, it's a great game.
Great game.
Didn't shoot it well from 3, 1 of 7.
Yeah. But you know who else doesn't shoot well 3?
De'Aaron Fox.
De'Aaron Fox.
De'Aaron Fox.
Yeah, he's not grabbing 11 rebounds.
Sitting there on the bench like, ooh.
I guess I got to clap.
It did keep cutting to him.
They all the time, yeah.
That wasn't accidental. He's going to end up in Orlando. That's where he's going.
Adele's not sending him to Orlando.
Oh, it's not up to him anymore. Adele's out. Wemby's the new king.
Hello.
Yeah, but Adele doesn't have Wemby.
Correct. Wemby's going to say, we got to get these guys out of here. We got to get these clutch dudes out of here.
Absolutely.
As soon as possible.
Certainly Wemby's agent thinks that.
Yeah. Same agent as Rudy.
Yeah, right. That guy, by the way, that guy with the European talent is going to just make a fortune. I bet he is just cleaning up.
Yep. He's done a good job.
Has he done a good job, or is he just...
He got Rudy. He got Rudy a bunch of money.
He did.
Yeah.
No, you're right. He has done a good job.
He's a good job.
Mm-hmm.
He's got a couple guys big cash, too. I should look at all of his...
Repping Wemby, though, is going to be easy. Wemby should fire him now.
I don't need an agent.
He doesn't.
Shea negotiated his last contract by himself.
Wasn't it Ray Allen who famously hired Johnny Cochran? You remember that?
Yeah.
Said, I don't need an agent. I just need somebody to hammer out this contract. Johnny Cochran said, I'll do it.
Boona Daye. Yeah. That guy's good.
Yeah, he should.
Get that guy.
Wemby should seriously fire that guy.
Yeah, probably don't need him.
I mean, even endorsements are going to come easy, right?
For the alien? Yeah.
He should not go with that nickname, though.
I agree with you. I think there are better nicknames out there.
Well, I wouldn't want my nickname to be an insult.
You always got to be careful calling people freakish or whatever.
Right. Like unibrow for Anthony Davis. I wouldn't want that.
This guy's only really covered a French player and a few NBA players. Not enough. But he's got some big ones. Rudy, Victor Wembanyama, Seher Sene, who was a Jazz assistant for a little bit there.
Jokic's
Nick
agent.
Batum.
Jokic's agent is a big deal over in Europe, right?
Yeah.
He's like the guy.
Mm-hmm.
I bet it's dirty pool in Europe. I bet it's so dirty. I bet these NBA franchises negotiating with that guy don't even know what they're dealing with. I bet that dude is used to dealing with mobsters. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like the Wemby's name ends up on that contract, or
I'm not sure the league rules are as strict.
Yeah, and the ownership groups are definitely more seedy.
Yeah,
way more seedy.
Yes, they are.
All right, more Jake and Ben coming up next. Don't forget David Locke, top of the 4 o'clock hour, 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone.
Mom, can you tell me a story?
Sure. Once upon a time, a mom needed a new car.
Was she brave?
She was tired, mostly. But she went to Carvana.com and found a great car at a great price. No secret treasure map required.
Did you have to fight a dragon?
Nope. She bought it 100% online. From her bed, actually.
Was it scary?
Honey, it was as unscary as car buying could be.
Did the car have a sunroof?
It did, actually.
Okay, good story.
Car buying you'll want to tell stories about. Buy your car today on
Carvana.
Delivery fees may apply.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever think about switching insurance companies to see if you could save some cash? Progressive makes it easy. Just drop in some details about yourself and see if you're eligible to save money when you bundle your home and auto policies. The process only takes minutes, and it could mean hundreds more in your pocket. Visit Progressive.com after this episode to see if you could save. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary. Not available in all states.
Your home for the best sports radio for your afternoon drive is right here. This is Jake Scott and Ben Anderson on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Jake and Ben, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Jake Scott, Ben Anderson. Thank you for making us a part of your day. We can get this. We can talk some college sports maybe a little later on in the show. Ben, you've seen the story out there. I was talking to Christian about it earlier, coming out from Yahoo, that the Big Ten and the SEC want to break away and do their own thing.
Okay.
No rules. No rules anymore, Ben. We talked about it earlier today. What do you make of the Portland Trailblazers and your guy El Cheapo?
Strikes again.
He came in and canned, 50 full-time employees?
Yeah, I heard it was upwards of 70 people overall.
Rough.
Okay, you worked for the Jazz. I never worked for the Jazz, but family members that have. Do people have a misconception? Maybe you know better. I'm sure you know better than I do. Of how many people actually work for these teams? The Jazz don't have 1,000 employees.
No.
Like 70 is a huge number of people.
It is, but can I tell you, I do think this is a non-story. Not to defend El Cheapo, but I do think this is a non-story. And I don't. Well, let me put it this way. Anytime ownership changes, there's going to be staff change. It's how it works. And owners come in and they get their new people. And if you want to think about it this way, they come in and they want an entirely different structure. Mm-hmm. And again, not to bring up old wounds, but when Ryan Smith bought the Jazz from the Millers, there was significant layoffs.
Yeah, there was turnover.
And it was not necessarily all budget related. It was also about he changed the whole structure of the company. Mm-hmm. All of a sudden, they had a CEO and a CRO and all that sort of thing where they never had that before, and they totally changed. And a lot of people were let go. And it wasn't, I mean, I don't want to speak out of turn, but it didn't feel to me like it was malicious. It was, this is all changing, and we're going to change right down to some of the people that go out and sell, or some of the people that manage teams, or they really just changed everything. And as a result, a lot of people, and good people, by the way, were let go in the process. So, yes, I'd love to blast El Cheapo because that on-the-road stuff is silly, and not traveling as two-way players, and that seems very nickel and dimey. But in this case, I understand it a little bit more. Does that make sense? Especially since they bought it from the Allens, and it wasn't even the old man Allen, rest his soul. It was the daughter. Yep. I mean, heaven knows what was going on in that organization, who they were employing, how it was going. Their head coach got arrested off the sidelines. Mm-hmm. I mean, for crying out loud, I don't know what was going on in that org. And so this one, I might be a little more careful about.
Being critical?
About being critical.
I understand what you're saying. I wonder if he's actually replacing these jobs or just getting cheaper and asking fewer people to do more work. That's where my red flag goes up. My antenna goes up.
All I know is there were stories like this written about Ryan Smith when it happened, and I don't think that was the whole story.
Yeah.
In fact, I know it wasn't the whole story.
Sean Highkin, who now has a Substack but has been working in Portland covering the NBA for a very long time, this was his analysis of it. He says, I talked to one person who survived the cuts today who said it feels like they just looked at the spreadsheet of salaries and cut the highest ones without any regard for what anyone does or how important they are. Now, that is common. That is one of the things that happens. But Sean goes on to say, my biggest criticism of Dundon from the beginning, which he admitted to on the podcast the other day, is that he does not get the ways in which the NBA doesn't work like the NHL and the things you have to pay for there. That's a red flag for me.
Yeah, but
you can't run an NBA team the way you run an NHL team. And by the way, Ryan Smith does not. He has hired different people to have different jobs and fill different roles that don't exist for one and the other.
I know, but who said that? Identify the guy again.
Sean Highkin.
Yeah. No, the source?
Yes.
It was somebody who
survived.
That guy just saw his best friend get whacked. Sure. He's not going to come out and say, well, this guy is brilliant.
Guy, smart
guy. No, that's question the source a little bit. And I don't know. I know people are in a hurry to blast him, and he's kind of giving them ammo to do it. I don't know. When the Millers or when the transition was going and layoffs happened with the Jazz, I wasn't too pleased to see some of the people get let go. It was a time of a lot of uncertainty. Mm-hmm. It was a time of in the case of the station, we had no idea if he wanted to run a radio station. And it turns out he did not.
Right.
Now it ended up just fine for us. And we've got a great relationship with the Jazz. And I'm really happy with how it eventually turned out. At the time,
you were unsure.
Didn't know. And I wasn't really happy about where it was going. You know, my longtime boss, Jeremy Castro, had just been laid off. I like Jeremy. I didn't know how that was going to go. Few people in my career have done more for me than that guy. I don't know if some reporter would have asked me for my comment and said, I'll keep it anonymous. I don't know what I would have said.
Sure. I think that's totally fair.
It would have been way different than what I would say now.
I would feel better and maybe have a little bit more I don't want to even say sympathy, but leniency towards what you're saying if Dundon didn't have a long history of seemingly inane behavior.
No, his team's still playing in the NHL playoffs.
Yep.
He's doing fine.
Yeah.
Now, I think his biggest, if we want to talk about red flags with that guy, was thinking that he could get the whatever league the Stallions played in off the ground. Mm-hmm. And that was a miserable failure.
Or thinking you run an NBA team like an NHL team. Not the same thing.
Well, we'll see. There's more than one way to skin a cat.
Mm-hmm.
And
let's hope he realizes
we'll
that.
See how it goes.
He seems to think there's only one way to do it.
We'll see. Well, we'll see how it goes with Portland. Maybe he changes the way NBA teams are run. I don't know.
Maybe every coach from here on out works on an hourly scale. Seems to be what he's trying to do there.
What the Sacramento guy wanted his team to cherry pick all the time.
Uh-huh.
I don't know. I'm not saying all ideas are good. I just don't know if I think this situation is less egregious from the El Cheapo standpoint than the other examples.
New owners come in and make changes. No question about it.
Yeah, it happens.
Yep.
And yeah, I don't think the Allens did a particularly good job with Portland, frankly, over the past several years. You could even make an argument the old man didn't really do a good job because he cared way more about the Seahawks than he ever did the Trailblazers.
No question.
So we'll see. Where does this guy actually live? He owns the Hurricanes. Is he like a New York guy?
I thought he lived in the South.
So if he's a long way away, I'd be super stoked to
Dallas.
I'd be more concerned if he was in the office upstairs, you know?
He's a Dallas guy. You know what? Again, not to go back to the Ryan and Bill Simmons podcast, but that's exactly where I'm going. He did talk about that. He said it's really important, he thinks, to be involved and be in the building and understand what people's jobs actually are, because it's easy to be really overreactive from afar. You make coaching changes quickly. You make front office changes quickly. If you're not in there throughout the process of decision-making, whether it's draft picks, strategy, team building, whatever, it's easy to step back and say that was a mistake, you're fired. But if you're involved in it and you understand why people arrived at the decisions they did and all the input that goes into it, he thinks you can do a better job. I think that was an interesting approach. It's an insider perspective on why you may want to do things a certain way versus living in Dallas and owning a team in Portland.
Wait, the 2 points, though, we've made about Ryan Smith are in a previous segment that he's hands-off, and then in this segment that he's hands-on?
No, that he understands why the decisions that are made.
But he's in the building and he's in the building and he knows everybody
why.
And all that stuff. It's very hands-on for an owner.
Yeah. That doesn't mean he's making the decisions on players getting hired or picked. So I think that was the original point.
Okay. All right.
I think you can do both. You can be in the building and not have the final say on who you draft.
So what's he weighing in on, like the color of the drapes?
The
carpet?
A little bit. Well, he says he has opinions. He said he watches basketball just like everyone else does and likes things and doesn't like things. He says he said, in his words, he opines.
So he goes in there and he says, I like this. I don't like that.
Uh-huh.
Or that, or that, or that. Like that.
Correct.
Covering the Utes better than anyone else.
Nope, that wasn't it.
Like that?
There it
we
is. Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. Well, I do think he's doing it his own way. And, we have in this ongoing evaluation of him as a sports owner, I certainly don't think he's made any big mistakes.
No, he's not infallible. But I don't think there's like this obvious, wow, I can't believe you did that. And again, you can go back to the drafts that he's been a part of and say that Dennis Lindsey and Justin Zanuck might have made a mistake with Doak. I mean, you look at Desmond Bane, you look at Jaden McDaniels, those guys are big-time players who fetch big value, and Udoka Azubuike sucked. Mm-hmm. That was a mistake. Now, Ryan is saying that I can be in that room and I can understand why we got to this, this answer, why that was the solution they got to, whether that was Dennis's pick or whoever's pick. He said that's how he gets there, why he understands it. And he's defended the pick on Twitter.
The Doak pick?
Huh?
Doak never got a fair shot.
Yeah, I can't remember. I don't know.
He did get hurt right away, which didn't
Twice.
help.
He went to the G League twice, and in the first game, both times, he dislocated his ankle.
And he was the Big 12 Player of the Year.
Uh-huh.
And I know people like to tell you that they knew that Desmond Bane and Jaden McDaniels were going to be awesome, but they've also said that same thing about plenty of players in the past that did not
My guy Jared Butler
turn out to be awesome.
Correct.
So
also out of the league.
yeah, and we were talking about People just want to be right, and then they hang on to it for a really long time.
But it's really easy to forget about what you were wrong about.
Very easy. I do it every day.
Yeah, absolutely.
We'll have more coming up next. Don't forget Locke with us at the top of the 4 o'clock hour. Jake and Ben, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
This is Jake Scott and Ben Anderson. Now, every day from 2 to 6 on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Jake and Ben, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Our buddy David Locke's going to join us coming up in the very next segment, the radio voice of the Utah Jazz. Want to remind you to join Scotty and the coach on Wednesday from 10 to 2 at the Bar W Beef pop-up event at the Cal Ranch store in Spanish Fork, 950 North Main Street. Ben, I just saw this. I didn't know anything about Victor Wembanyama's parents. His mom, Elodie, 6'3", former pro basketball player. Mm-hmm. His dad, Felix, 6'6", competed professionally in the triple jump, high jump, and long jump. Genetics are a fascinating thing. You know what I mean? Like, yes, both parents are tall, but he still had to hit the genetic lottery to become as tall as he is. And then to have both parents, obviously, they're athletic. I mean, what makes Wemby so unique is his ability to move and jump and be, what am I looking for? Not gangly? Not
fluid, yeah.
Not, what's the word? Not, we used to call it lurpy back in the day.
Yeah.
But has balance and coordination. That's probably what I'm looking for. You know, you still have to really get every right thing, right, to be like he is. In the NBA, talking a lot about Wemby, you look at, for the most part, and it's, I guess, not always the case, but for the most part, the true dominant players in the NBA are physically unique.
Yep.
Not just gifted, but unique.
Yeah.
There's not another person like that out there. Mm-hmm. There's like that? LeBron, totally unique, being that size and that athletic and that healthy, frankly. Giannis, absolutely. But even going back, Magic was pretty physically
extremely unique, yeah. And
I don't know where you put Jordan on that scale. There have been other 6'6", 200-pound athletic players, but
not as athletic as Jordan.
Not
in all honesty. And sometimes we think of athleticism as just having the highest vertical, and being the Vince Carter run and jump athletes. Like Shea's a freak athlete. He's not a big dunker. He showed a nice dunk last night. He had one. Perfect body control. An absolutely insane ability to start and stop, move in, get his feet in the right position to get to his jump shot, things that we kind of underrate. It's far more of what Darren Peterson is. He's not, we had the crazy dunk against BYU. He's had some big dunks. It's not what he's going to really be in the NBA. He's not Anthony Edwards, but it's near perfect body control. Jokic looks like a mess. I get it. Hand-eye coordination is basically perfect. His
touch is amazing.
His touch is
that
insane.
Might be his superpower.
That's an athlete. It's a different type of athlete, but it's an athlete nonetheless. And no, you're exactly right, and that's a huge deal. It's one of the reasons why the biggest indicator of success, the best indicator for success amongst true prospects, not just if your parent did this, you're going to make it, but real prospects is, did your parents also play in the NBA? Did your dad play in the NBA? Has generally been the best indicator that you're going to be a good NBA player yourself, that you're going to make it. And you want to look down the list of guys. It's like maybe your dad doesn't make the NBA, but like Keontae George's dad played very high-level basketball, played with CJ Miles at some point. Cam Boozer, his dad's a longtime NBA player. It's going to be good for him. Mike Conley's dad didn't play in the NBA. He's an Olympic high jumper, long jumper.
Like he was an Olympian, yeah.
It's like, having really athletic parents, because you inherit some of those genetics. Jaren Jackson's mom, Ace Bailey's entire family, Ace Bailey's aunt was a WNBA legend. Having the genetics helps. I also think there's a big deal about knowing somebody who's been there. I really believe in that. If you know somebody who has reached that level of competition, excellence, fame, or whatever, the likelihood that you get there is so much higher.
Well, and it's what genetics did you get?
Yeah.
I remember we argued with David about Bronny James, or I did. I shouldn't throw you under the bus. I was arguing with David over Bronny James, and David was saying, but genetics. It's like, he got the wrong ones.
Yeah. He's not 6'8".
He's not.
No, he's 6'1".
Didn't get the right genetics. But all right, my question to you is: okay, so two elite athletes, fall in love, or did they? Do you think that they were forced to fall in love at the point of a gun, like Yao Ming's parents?
That was a Yao Ming thing. I'm not sure France is quite that strict.
Who was the president at the time?
In France? Well, he's only 23 years old.
Yeah, so what, 2004?
2003.
2003? Who was the French president? I don't know anything about French politics.
Same.
They could be desperate for a basketball player.
Jacques Chirac.
Yeah, I know nothing about that guy. But could he have forced Wemby's parents to mate at the point of a gun? Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, anything's possible.
Well, it happened in China. I wouldn't have thought it would happen at all.
Like it happened in China.
I don't think that was love. Ben's really looking into it now.
Jacques Chirac. I remember the name because as soon as I pulled him up, he's known for his staunch opposition to the U.S. invading Iraq. And I remember that name from that, just getting out of high school at the time. But I don't know anything about him.
Maybe his master plan was like, listen, we're going to take over their sport.
It's possible. Took 23 years. Is he still alive? Jacques Chirac is...
Playing the long game, bro.
Dead.
Still. I'm going to put the wheels in motion that are really going to throw the American sports world on its head.
My legacy is to be put off an American MVP just one more year.
I mean, who made the decision to make Yao Ming's parents get together? Probably wasn't Xi.
No, probably not alive anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
Long game, Ben. Got to be on this thing.
Country before individual success.
I do find genetics fascinating. It is really interesting to see what goes down, to the next generation and what does not.
Oh, it happens in the U.S. all the time. You and I both know a couple of guys who found women specifically because of their athleticism, thinking they could have great athletes for kids. And by the way, both do.
Right, that's true.
It does work.
Oh, no, is this true, Christian?
I wasn't trying to break into the show. My apologies, but I think that is real.
Christian just sent us a tweet. Breaking news. Las Vegas's famous Heart Attack Grill is closed. Oh, no.
We were talking about this last week or 2 weeks ago.
Heartbroken.
You have to be 350 pounds, and if you're over 350, you eat for free?
Yeah.
Is that what it is, or was it just $3 bills?
No, it's 350.
I think you thought it was 350, and you said it was 3, and then we looked up, it's still 3.
I thought it had been moved up to 4.
Okay.
Yeah, 350.
But it doesn't even matter now because it's closed.
Yeah, they leaned into the morbidly obese lifestyle.
It was 350, and I think the problem was there's just so many people that eat for free, they went out of business. That's not a criticism of people eat for free. If I weighed 350, I'm going to eat for free at the Heart Attack Grill.
Listen, you didn't. That's not where they made or lost their money. That was the show.
Right.
People went for the show.
You know what? Maybe I don't feel so bad that this place is closed.
You know what killed this restaurant? GLP-1s. That's what did it. There's no more show.
Charles Barkley.
There's no more show.
Serena Williams.
You used to go down to this restaurant to watch people get on the cattle scale.
You're not kidding. That's what it was.
And then go in and eat for free. That was the, like Excalibur does the night show. That was their show.
Okay.
It's over for
fine.
now.
It's fine if it goes out of business for me.
Yeah, morally, it's amazing it lasted as long as it did.
And did you ever talk about how it's like hospital themed?
No, I don't know if we
hospital
themed.
Yeah, the waitresses are dressed like nurses.
Probably also are nurses on the side, because they need that sort of thing.
Do you have your food handler's permit? Yes. And your nursing degree?
Your CPR
yeah.
Registered nurse, you bet. Just trying to make a few extra bucks.
Yeah. According to The Sun, it's closed.
It's gone. It's gone.
I'm going to try and get you. So in addition, for your birthday now, I have to get you 3 things. I have to get you the Japanese monster wolf dog. What was the second thing?
Well, it was a robot wolf.
Wolf dog. Yeah. What was the second thing?
I don't even remember.
There was another thing you asked for your birthday that was like really hard to get.
It was, yeah.
And now I've pulled up the neon sign for the Heart Attack Grill that I've got to try and find before they tear down the whole building.
That one, the sign would be incredible. I'd settle for like a shirt or a hat.
Okay. Probably figure that out.
Bring me the scale.
The cattle scale? Oh, man, it's a sad day. Maybe David Locke can lift our spirits.
Customer food options included the impressive Octuple Bypass Burger, which featured 8 burger patties and 40 bacon slices.
Yeah, buddy. get that for free.
And I believe they fried their fries in lard.
Of course they did.
Well, yeah.
Like all of the best fries.
The restaurant's biggest claim to fame was their deal that anyone over 350 pounds ate for free as long as they were willing to be weighed in front of the entire dining room. Hence your point, that was actually the show.
That was the show.
Dinner and a show.
That was the draw.
And you'd boo people who came in at just 340.
Yeah, missed it.
Yeah.
You got to pay for your dinner, pal. David Locke joins us next, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Summer is all about freedom, fun, and growing up. And between the ages of 9 and 13, kids are starting to form their views about alcohol. With more independence, their still developing brains need more guidance and support than ever. That's why summer is the perfect time to stay connected and plan fun, safe family activities together. Research shows kids who spend quality time with their parents doing what they enjoy are less likely to drink underage. And when kids feel close to you, they're more likely to listen, especially when you set clear expectations. In fact, kids who drink before 15 are far more likely to struggle with alcohol later. This summer, create a no-bummer summer with fun, alcohol-free activities for your kids. Go to summer.parentsempowered.org to take a quick quiz and discover ideas tailored to your family. A little time together can make a big difference. For more information and to learn more about how to prevent underage drinking, visit parentsempowered.org.
I sold my car in Carvana last night.
Well, that's cool.
No, you don't understand. It went perfectly. Real offer, down to the penny. They're picking it up tomorrow. Nothing went wrong.
So, what's the problem?
That is the problem. Nothing in my life goes as smoothly. I'm waiting for the catch.
Maybe there's no catch.
That's exactly what a catch would want me to think.
Wow, you need to relax.
I need to knock on wood. Do we have wood? Is this table wood?
I think it's laminate.
Okay, yeah, that's good. That's close enough.
Car selling without a catch. Sell your car today on
Carvana.
Pickup fees may apply.